Hello Flosstube, my stitchy friends. Welcome to episode number 53 of Handmade by Sarah W. My name is Sarah and this is my Flosstube channel where I talk primarily about cross stitch. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. I hope if you see something you like, you'll consider subscribing to my channel. And I'll be honest, I don't have a ton to show this time. So my family and I took a trip to the beach, my happy place, and we had a wonderful time. We had beautiful weather. It was perfect. It was just what I needed. And so I did stitch every day I was gone, but it wasn't a whole lot. So I do have some things to share, just not a ton. So I do have a finish on my quilt that I showed last week, but that's the only finish that I have. So I have one new start, and then I have 5 WIPS to share and a couple plans, including my birthday start that I will start stitching on July 1st, and also my 4th of July start. So let's get on into the stitching, and I'm excited to share everything that I have with you. First, let's look at the quilt. So last week I shared this quilt. It's a Bargello quilt. I will put a picture of the whole topper so that you can see what that really means. It creates this really cool pattern, and I used I wanted like a rainbow effect, but also patterned fabric. So this is what my fabric looks like, and I used a jelly roll for that part, and then I did just like a double border with this charcoal black and this kind of ivory, and then my binding is a hot pink that went well with the rest of the quilt, and then the back is this black, or kind of like a charcoal with white kind of lines. And so I did the quilt top, I want to say like in 2020 or 2021, and I actually got it done pretty quick. This is my first like big quilt. The second biggest thing that I've ever quilted was this table runner. So this was the first big thing that I ever quilted, and I definitely learned a lot from this one, and I will share my plans for my next quilt after I tell you about this. But yeah, so I'm excited. I love this. I got it finished after I filmed my last video, which really, it was to the point where it just needed the binding. So I got that done. I got it washed. I was so nervous. I was like, when I wash this, is it just all gonna come apart? But it didn't. It did not. And I love it. I've been snuggling under it, and I love it. And it just feels so good. And I just love it. I love it so much. So this is my finished quilt, and I can't wait to do my next one. I'll go ahead and share my plans for my next one. So I've already cut out all of my squares. I'm doing a patriotic quilt, a scrappy quilt, and I'm quilting along with some friends, Michelle from Michelle Lee Quilts and Allison from AllieCat13 on Instagram. And so I'll show some of my well, do you call these blocks? No, it's not a block because I haven't like sewn anything together. I'll show you the squares, the fabric squares that I have cut out. So what I did was I cut out 5-inch squares, and I'm gonna do 12, I think, across the top and 14 across the bottom. I guess once I do that, I'll like hold it up and see like, am I good with this? I think I will be. I'm not planning on adding a border, but I guess I could if I wanted to. But anyway, I've got some blue fabric with white stars and some fireworks. Love that. I'm kind of showing you the blues first. Some floral. This is the same, and I don't even think I realized this when I bought this fabric. because actually I bought this first and then I kind of like forgot about it. Didn't really remember what I had. And then when I went to get the backing fabric for my quilt, I bought the black one. So then when I was cutting this, I was like, oh, that's the same fabric. But I really like this. So it's like a darker blue and a lighter blue. And then some polka dots and some more plaid. Okay, I have two different reds with stars. Okay, I don't think I even realized this before, but okay. So here's this one, and then here's this one. So they're different, you know. But I'm gonna just make this like scrappy. I'm gonna try not to put like two reds together or whatever. So wish me luck on laying that out. I haven't started sewing it yet, and I think I'm just sort of like a little nervous about the laying it out. My friend Michelle had a good suggestion of kind of doing it like in quadrants, and I think that's a really good suggestion. Here's another one with stars, and then this one also. So I think it's going to be very cute. I'm excited to get working on it. I just need to get my layout and then I'll be good to go. So let's talk about cross stitch now. So my new start. Okay, I started Summer at Hollyberry Farms. I think I had expressed on my last video or the one before that I really was wanting to start this. What was it? Maybe it was for Memorial Day. I had thought about starting it, but then I didn't. But the itch never went away. And so I just said, you know what? If I want to do it, I'm going to do it. And so I just went ahead and started it. And I did start with the border. Oh, I love the borders on all of the Hollyberry Farms. This is by Stacy Nash, by the way. And here is my start. So I did get all the way across the top. So I love it, love the fabric. I chose, this is a Fiber on a Whim. I got an 18 count and the color is wheat. Love the modeling on that. And I am using all of the called for colors. There's one that I'm missing just because I really couldn't find it in stock anywhere, but I will. Did I show this? I don't think I showed this last time, but I feel like maybe I said I was gonna start it. I don't remember, but I do remember talking about something about this, and it is that it calls for 10 bucket. I swear I think I talked about this last time, but it was a new start. So maybe I had gotten it and I was kidding it up and I was about to start it and I showed it. But this is the color that they call for like the flag and the blue dress. And that's just not blue, and I'm not gonna stitch it with 10 bucket. But if you've been here a while, you've heard me talk about this 10 bucket situation a million times. It has come up in so many of my stitches where I'm thinking I'm gonna be stitching blue, and then I just order all the floss, and then it's 10 bucket, and 10 bucket isn't blue anymore. Even when you look at the chart, at the DMC color for it, let's see. Oh, it's not on the back. Well, let me open it up and tell you. So then that's what I thought. I thought, well, let me look at the DMC equivalent in the chart and see if that is actually blue or gray. And guess what? It's blue. I think this is the one I was looking at. Or was it something else? Because I could have sworn. I think I'm getting, oh, I know what it was. This is what I talked about recently. It wasn't this. It was Strawberry Fields Forever Blackbird. And I looked at the DMC equivalent, and it was one of those wasn't it like 920 something, those pretty blues? And that was the DMC equivalent for 10 bucket, and like they don't match at all. It's just one of those things that over time, the dyes change or whatever. And so, I mean, this came out in 2013. And a lot of those Blackbird charts that I've stitched and am stitching are from that time also. And so you just need to think about that. If you want your chart to look like the front and you have 10 bucket, you just need to be aware and think about it, because I never use it in place for that. I always use a blue instead. So I will figure out a good blue to put there and it will all be fine. No problem. All right, so let's take a look at some other WIPS. So I know that I worked on this last time and showed it. Oh, my needle's still in here. I must have had to abruptly stop, which happens, and that's okay. But this is by Plum Street Samplers. It's called Stitch Stack. It's one of the stacks, and I am stitching this with my friend Kara. She's Pink Daisy Stitch on Instagram, and I'm doing this on, it's a Picture This Plus. It's a 16 count in the color Bashful. So I finally got all the black and the white done. So I've moved on to some green. I really want to get to the pink, but I'm sort of holding off and gonna do that later as like a little reward, because I really like stitching with pink. So this is my progress so far. Not a ton more since you've seen it last. I think really I just started putting that green in there. So it's not a ton more progress since you last saw it 2 weeks ago. And then that leads me to another, let's see, I had just started this last time. This is also by Stacy Nash, and it is called As the Crow Flies. It's on an 18 count Picture This Plus in the color Heartland. And I am stitching this with my friend Allie, and she is the Stitch Haven by Allie on Instagram. And we had started this together this month. Sorry, this was another abrupt start because I got tired last night. I was working on this last night and I just left my needle in there. But anyway, here's my progress so far. I've just kind of been working on that green and love this chart. This is going to be so pretty with some of the other things we've stitched together that are fall. We both love fall so much. And yeah, love this chart. And I didn't mention that I am using the called for fancy floss on this. And so here are what the colors look like. Just a few colors, but all beautiful fall colors. So fun. Okay, so then we have, okay, this one, this is what I worked on the most when I was at the beach, because it is my current purse stitch because of the fill-in. And that's really all I worked on, because I would only really stitch in the car or like waiting to eat or something like that. Like, I don't think I stitched once in the room. Because, you know, I was on vacation and I was soaking up the sun. If you can't tell, I'm pretty tan right now because I got a lot of sun. But anyway, this and the next two that I'm stitching are with my friend Sarah of Sarah's Stitchery. And this is called Blackberry House by Plum Street Samplers. Here's my progress. I am stitching this. Oh, and I should say everything I've shown and everything I will show, I'm stitching with one strand. Sorry, I have a hard time mentioning that because I typically don't ever change that up. I mean, sometimes, but like rarely. Okay, so this is on a 16 count Picture This Plus in the color Tycho. If you have 16 count and you measure it, I bet you it would measure at 18. And that's why I really enjoy a one strand on this, because it really gives great coverage. You can see. So this is what I've been filling in so much on. And so that's why I was stitching on this, because I didn't have to look. I never looked at a pattern once while I was on my vacation, except I did work a little bit on Summer at Hollyberry Farms on the way there and on the way back. So other than that, this is all I stitched on. And this fabric is called Tyco. It's mostly all of the called for floss, some DMCs, but you can see a lot of that variegation. Most of that I think is fancy floss. And okay, next up, like I said, I am stitching this with Sarah, but also with Michelle of Michelle Lee Quilts. And this was a new market release from Stacy Nash, and it is called Rose Hill Farms. And worked on this a couple times. Oh gosh, I don't remember the name of this fabric. I think it's a 20 count, and I think it's a fiber on a whim, and I think it's parchment. And let's see, I know I'm using a mix of the called for fancy floss and DMC. So since I showed this the last time, I have started putting some of that red in the border. Everything was such like neutral colors. I couldn't wait to get some red in there. So that's looking great. I'm loving it. Love the fabric. And it's just a sweet little small chart. I mean, it's not that big, you know. Love it. And then let's see, I think I just have one more WIP to show, and then a couple plans, and that'll be it. All right, so this next one is called Nature's Journey, and it is by Lupin something. I don't know why I can't remember this. Did I write it on this? Let's see if my notes are Sprouting Lupin. That's what it is. And this I'm doing, and this is a mystery stitch along. Although it's not really a mystery because they did like show all the parts, but it's a mystery because they're only like releasing the parts. They're spread, you know, like the spring came out, then the summer, then the fall, and then the winter. So the spring and summer are out, and I did complete my spring. Last video I said I was going to work on the summer on the 20th for the summer solstice. Then guess what? We went to the beach and I didn't take it because I was like, you know what, this is too involved. Like I need easy stitching. So I didn't work on it yet, but I plan to work on it this week and get some stitching done on the summer. I think it's so pretty. Into the Veil by Bee Stitch Me is the called for, and that's what I'm stitching it on. Mine's an 18 count, and I'm using all of the called for DMC floss. Like I said, one strand. Someone just recently asked me what size needles I use. It doesn't matter what I'm stitching on, I'm using a 28. That's my favorite needle. And so yeah, I'm gonna move on to summer, and this is really fun to stitch. I know my friend Jacinta is working on this too, and she didn't finish spring, but she went ahead and like moved into summer. She's crafting on the plains here on YouTube, and you know, I think that's okay. Like there's no rules, especially with a stitch along. I never really follow, like the only real rule I normally would follow maybe is the start date, but maybe not even that. Because, you know, stitching is fun and you should just be able to do what you want to do. So if you're not feeling, you know, whatever part you're on, you can move on to the next one if it's out yet, and then come back to that. So it's not, you don't have to finish spring first. I could have done spring and summer all together, but I didn't. I just went ahead and finished all of the spring first. Let me get in a little closer so you can see that better. It's so cute. So that is all of the WIPs that I have to show you. And I'll just show you my plans, and then that's it for this video. Short and sweet this time. Okay, so on my birthday, July 1st, I am starting a new start, and it is called Jane Hearth by Hands Across the Sea. Now, if you can notice, the fabric on the model is very warm, and I'm going an opposite direction and going with a cool fabric. The fabric that I chose is called Stone, and it's by Fiber on a Whim. The one I went with is 18 count. That's another thing. The count is really your preference. You know, you can stitch anything. Like say for example, this chart, you want to stitch it, but you don't stitch on 18 count. Well, just because I'm stitching it on 18 count doesn't mean you have to. You can stitch it on 14, 16. You can stitch it on Lugana. You can stitch it on linen. It doesn't matter. You know, what's going to be different is the finish size. So if the finish size matters to you, if you're trying to get it into a certain frame, you may want to take that into consideration. But you can stitch anything on whatever. Like, look, I stitched this on 14 count. This is 16. This is 18. So let me show you my fabric here. I think you can see it pretty good, okay? Because you can see that this batting on my board is like a creamy, warmer color. So you can see how cool that stone is. It's a pretty gray. And here are all my flosses. I'm using all of the called for DMC colors. And there are pretty pinks, purples, blues, greens, yellows. I'm really digging this blue color right here. I think that's gonna be so pretty. I think they're all gonna be really pretty. I love stitching with purple thread for some reason. It's not a color that you see a whole lot, you know, but I'm really looking forward to those. I have fun stitching with purple threads. I think they're fun. I really love this color too. Anyway, I think my colors are gonna pop on this, and I'm excited to stitch it. If you would like to stitch along with me, I'm starting this on July 1st. That's my birthday, and no rules. You don't have, if you want to stitch it and you don't want to start it that day, don't. Start it later, start it before. It doesn't matter. Like I'm not gonna section it off and say do this by this date or that. Just start it if you want to start it with me. If you are, let me know. If you plan to stitch it, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Also, if you'll tag me on Instagram, if you post it, I would love to see that, and I can repost it in my stories, and I can just see who's stitching with me. I would love to see it. So normally for my birthday starts, I will use 2 hashtags. Hashtag Sarah's B-Day Sal. And then, so that's for like all of them, all of the ones I've done. But then I also like to use something specific for this chart. So I was gonna do hashtag Jane Hearth B-Day Sal. And let me know if you plan to join. Comment here or send me a message on Instagram or an email. I'd love to know. And if you are, what fabric are you using? I'm excited to hear. So that is one plan. And like I said, that will start July 1st. And then I have a July 4th start. And I'm very excited to stitch this. A couple of my friends are gonna stitch it. So Michelle from Michelle Lee Quilts and my friend Judy from Bright Hope Stitchery, we are all planning to start this on July 4th. And you know, it's a big one, but it's a big time to celebrate 250 years, right? So it's a big old chart, but I'm excited. And this is Teresa Koget's Land That I Love. And I just got it all kitted up, so I'll show you my fabric and my floss. I am using Fiber on a Whim brown sugar in a 20 count, sorry. And so this is what my fabric looks like. There. And then I have all of the call for floss. So this is going to be a combination of DMC, WIPS, and classic color works. So here are all the colors. If this is something that you would also like to start, she's a big girl, but you know what? I'm in no rush. Like, it doesn't have to be done by a certain time or anything. But if you were looking for something to stitch for the 4th and you want to join us on this, I think that would be so fun. And there's a lot of good like fabric options if you are not decide, you know, if you haven't decided on what you want to work on or what you want to use for it. You can look on Instagram, and a lot of people have stitched this. So I actually was able to pull this piece from my stash, and I was happy about that. I did have to order some of the flosses, but a lot of them I had. I'm really so excited for all the blues and also the reds. So it's a pretty palette. But I think all my colors are going to be okay on it. So, in one of my favorite colors, it called for like 3 skeins of it or something, and it's dolphin. I love that blue. I'll show it to you. It's, sorry, my chair is a little squeaky, but it's that blue. It's like a gray blue. It's so pretty. I also really like this WIPS Fathom. Oh. So, yeah, they're all really pretty, honestly. So it's going to be a fun one to work on. And also Summer at Hollyberry Farm would be a good one if you're looking for a patriotic stitch. If you're wanting, I don't know, I was just thinking like it's a big year, so I'm gonna do a big stitch. So that is that. And I think that's all I have for today, but I have enjoyed catching up with you, and I will see you very soon. Take care.